Hello and welcome, my name's Gamepad Pibius and I am bringing you my top 5 military shooters. These are like all on PC and it's pretty much my opinion of the top 5 shooters you can get out there at the moment. You know, feel free to suggest any others that I might not have looked up or I might not have played before. You know, in the comments I would love for you to suggest some games that I don't know about that are good military shooters, and the lists are pretty much for fun, and you know, they don't matter. I'm just doing them because, you know, I need some content. I'm putting some content on. It's good stuff. And I've set some rules. Like there's one game per franchise, and I'm using loose terms to define military in this case. Military sort of covers everything that I wanted to cover. And so let's get on with the list. So first, as you've probably gathered, is Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Obviously, if you don't know Counter-Strike, it was made by Valve. It's an update of the original Counter-Strike, and then Counter-Strike Source. This is Counter-Strike Source's update. And I apologise for the guy in this video who kept talking. I didn't get to mute in time, but that's alright. I think it's good. It's good, you know. I think it's really here just to keep us quiet for Half-Life 3, the Global Offensive expansion pack. But you know, Half-Life 3, maybe Counter-Strike 3. That'll be a new one. I'll enjoy that. You know, it's if you're gonna get into any sort of multiplayer online shooter, this is the one where you start. You know, this is where you're gonna learn your mouse control. This is where you're gonna learn like gameplays and modes and everything like that. It's a very rushed, fast-paced game. It's a good all-rounder. I mean, you know, the only thing I can really compare it to in any sort of way would be sort of how Call of Duty is now, but it's a lot fairer. You know, you don't get these overpowered weapons that you do in some of these other games that you do now, where you can just run around with akimbo UMP-45s and just decimate the entire map. It's not about that. It takes a little bit of skill, a little bit of mouse control, as I said. So that is why this one comes in at number 5. Moving right along, we have Hawkin. This is a must-own PC game. No one's got any excuse if they can run something like Battlefield or even Battlefield 3, for instance. If you can run that on your PC, you could probably run this as well. And its best thing, it's free, absolutely free to play, and you get you can see some awesome mech-based warfare. As everyone knows, military fights will be fought in the future by giant mechs filled with pilots, and things will blow up a lot, and that's just the way that the military tech's going now. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I mean, I make the comparison a lot. This game reminds me a lot of Titanfall. Makes me a lot of Titanfall, but I haven't had my hands on Titanfall yet. I'm not. As I say, I'm not experienced. I couldn't tell you what it's like, but from the footage I've seen and what I've played of this, they're fairly similar in many ways. I mean, the only thing missing from this is if there were little infantry guys running around with jump packs, then I think you'd have pretty much the same game. But half the game for free, who can complain for that? I mean, it's multiple classes, and within classes you have multiple mechs. It's just 3 words describe this better than any other words I could put together, and that is explodey robot action. And now that is why this one is at number 4. After the last free-to-play one, we have another free-to-play one, Team Fortress 2. This one wasn't always free-to-play. This was released as a full game. I think it was an expansion typey thing for Half-Life 2, you know, and this game is, you know, it's a classic. It's a modern classic. I mean, it's been out for at least 6 years, I think. But still, there are people playing it. I had no trouble finding a game when I wanted to record some footage, and you know, I had no trouble actually, you know, doing this winning a lot. You know, it's quite an accessible game still. You know, there are still like faults for certain other classes, and 9 classes you get, 9 classes of troop. I mean, it is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of people's favourites, the pyro, and it's. What can I say about it? It was I think it's an in-house project by Valve. So, you know, it's on Steam, obviously. It's just crazy. It's like off-the-wall crazy as well. Like, you wouldn't understand the sort of things that can come out of playing this game. It's just non-stop action. Non-stop. I'm still beginning to notice a sort of theme. I wonder if you guys are noticing a theme as well. But still, if you just take, for instance, this mode, like, it's like capture the flag, but the flag is on rails, and you've got to push the flag to the rails of the place where you're trying to get, but you don't want the team to get their flag to the place they're trying to get, and both flags end up at the same place, and you ended up fighting, and big booming explosion things happens, and then you lose. But still, it's a lot of fun. So that is why Team Fortress 2 resides at 3. What's this? I hear you ask in your heads. I mean, it looks a little bit like some other games, but a little bit smaller, a little bit more tactical, a little bit more squad-based, which is something that I do strive for in my video games. Some nice teamwork. And this is Insurgency. Once again, it's available through Steam, and there's plenty of enjoyment to be had out of this game. I mean, I've spent many hours sat in a corner waiting for someone to make a mistake. I mean, even there, what I was doing there, horrible mistake. You don't run across the street because there's going to be someone covering you. Well, you'd hope that your team's covering you, but really, it's going to be the enemy. And this game, I mean, it's not blockbuster action. It's not like what you'll find in your Call of Duties or your Battlefields or anything like that. This is just stripped down infantry combat, and you know, and what that means. You know, it means patience. It means trying to work with your team, which is something that doesn't come naturally to a lot of people, a lot of gamers nowadays. I mean, take for instance this encounter, you know, I can just see his head popping out, but he's laying down cover and then just pops out one shot, and that's all it takes. Realistic damage. It's all about finding the objective, and I've only just worked out what half the objectives are in most of the game modes, to be honest. It's taken me a few times, but then again, they're usually, what's the word? A little bit convoluted, but I think that's just to avoid, you know, some older stereotypes of game modes, and they're all good. They're all good. I've played them all. I mean, I'm not so fond of the whole you die and then, you know, permadeath for that round, but I see why they put it in. You know, it's not overbalance the team really. For instance, you know, you run around like that and you get shot in the side of the head. And I'll show you, this is how a real VIP does it. And I'm looking forward to maybe some new maps on this. I mean, the only thing that I have a problem with at the moment, I mean, it's like there is a lot of maps. I think there's over 12 maps, which is a lot. But anyone who knows and plays first-person shooters for a majority of the time will learn most of the maps and most of the corners and most of the things that people will do to get you out, and tactics that you have to learn. I mean, this particular bit was so intense. My heart was going so much. You know, I knew that there was enemies above me. I knew there was enemies just everywhere as far as I'm concerned, and now I know they're on the same floor as me, and they just killed that guy. You know, this game is all about the intensity of that moment, and it does it well. It does it well. The easiest way I can describe it is, imagine armor, but with a decent control scheme. And that guy just cleared that guy out, and yeah. on my way to victory, and that is why this one sits at number 2. Well, what else was it going to be here, everyone? You know, Battlefield. I've loved Battlefield since I played it, the very original one, which was Battlefield 1942. I had that game on PC when I had my old little Packard Bell my mum bought for the family. I installed that game, played it to death with bots, because I didn't have the internet back then. You know, like a lot of households, no internet, but PCs. You know, it seems strange nowadays to not have one and the other. You know, whilst this game, Battlefield 4 in particular, has had like launch problems and that, you know, they're mostly ironed out now. And what's left behind is like a really, really glorious game. I mean, obviously, I'm no good at it, but when I am good at it, I enjoy it a lot. I mean, the guns, they feel great. They like all of them feel just unique enough to make them feel useful in various situations. You know, the vehicles, you know, they're kind of weird to drive if you use a gamepad. Just gonna point that out. You don't accelerate with the triggers or anything like that. You use the sticks to move forward. I mean, that's a little bit weird, but you get used to it, to be honest, and it feels a little bit more responsive in the end. So it's quite weird. But I mean, they're powerful, these vehicles. I mean, especially this T60, I think T70. I can't remember what name of tank this is, but it's a big tank, and they will blow buildings to smithereens. And I think that's actually what's happened in this level already. If you can see, that was a tower in front of us right now, taking random pot shots at people. You know, this. But they're not overpowered. They're powerful, but they're not overpowered. I mean, like if there was a recon guy just sat around the corner on that ledge just to the right, he jumped down, planted a couple of C4 on me, run away, boom, I'm out of there. You know, it's not like it's gonna ruin my his game. I'm not gonna ruin. Look, he's not gonna ruin my game. I'm not gonna ruin his game. You know, both on the same level, even though I'm in a tank, sort of thing. Obviously, if I come up against an assault guy or a support guy, there's not much you can do, really, apart from get shot or hide. But that's the idea of picking classes, you know. But the most important thing of this game is fun. I know they say it like it's their big marketing campaign, those Battlefield moments, but you really do have those Battlefield moments. Like that moment where the guy in the APC run over me for some reason. And look at us, I'm just going to put them barriers down, and we're going to roll out like some Autobots. You know, I mean, if you find the prospect of like spawning in a jet, dogfighting till you lose control, ejecting, parachuting down an enemy position whilst dropping on C4 on a tank, landing, blowing it up, taking out 2 guys, then hopping on a quad bike to safety. That's the sort of things you're going to get here. In fact, that's pretty much the whole game in a nutshell. There is too much possibility in this game. Too much. There's no such thing as too much possibility in a game like this. You know, I was playing a game the other day and I was sniping, and eventually what happened was across the map, me and this other sniper were just having this respawn, go to the same spot, try and take each other out sort of thing, and it works. You know, it was a lot of fun just to do that between that one guy when there was this whole 64 other players going on, 62 other players going around in the background fighting a battle. It was a battle between me and this one other guy, you know, and they're the Battlefield moments that people talk about. And that is why Battlefield proudly sits at number 1, gets the golden gamepad of godly gamingness. So slap that like button and give me all the subscribing goodness that you can, and feel free to comment, because, you know, I'd like to interact with the people here a little bit more. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've been GPPBS, and I'll see you guys in the next video.